Peace, welcome back to Playbook FM. I'm Jay. We're back with what is part 8 of my Football Manager 20 Aberdeen save. If you've missed any of the previous episodes, go back and take a look because we're about to jump back in. So, since the last episode, we've found a little bit of form. Where were we for the last episode? Around here? Yeah, Hamilton, Ross County, one of the two. Anyway, we have been on a decent run. We only lost 1-0 against St Mirren. That's the only blip in what otherwise was a pretty successful month in January, which did actually lead me to getting second place in the Manager of the Month competition. And during that time as well, the transfer window has closed and we have brought in a couple of new players, which I'll show you just now. First of them is Marian Shved, a 22-year-old Ukrainian inside forward / inverted winger who can play both wings as well as up front a little bit. We've got him in on loan from Celtic, and we do also have a future fee arranged of just over £1 million. And we've also brought in, where is he? Pedro Chirivella, the 22-year-old Spanish defensive midfielder from Liverpool, and we bought him in for £3 million. Now, how did we get all this money, you might be asking? If we go to, this is what I should have been on in the first place, transfer history, you can see that Lewis Ferguson was snapped up by Chelsea. He's been in fantastic form this season. Chelsea put in a bid and he wanted to leave, which is fair enough. So hopefully he'll go on to have a successful career at Chelsea. But funnily enough, they immediately put him right back on loan. I tried to loan him back, but he wasn't having it. So a couple of changes to the squad. We've lost a pretty important player, but I think we've got a very good replacement in Pedro, who can play that defensive midfielder position and the centre mid position pretty well. And we do actually own him as well. He's 22 years old. He's got plenty of potential. In fact, if we look at... okay, we don't want to report from him. Maybe him. Right, if we look at Scott Patterson's coaching report, his potential is around about 10, so he could potentially be a 4.5-star player. So I think that's a pretty good transfer window. So today's episode will be featuring the Premiership match away against Livingston and then at home in the Scottish Cup 5th round against Ayrr United. I think we should win both matches, really and truly. Let me just change Shved. That's one thing I've got to mention. As soon as Shved came in, he caught the flu. So we won't be seeing him in this episode. However, not to worry, because James Wilson has continued to be in amazing form. Also, one thing I did neglect to mention. You'll see we won 2-0 away from home against Rangers. James Wilson there scoring a goal. However, Jaap Stam is Rangers' new manager, and that completely threw me through the loop. So that's just one thing I wanted to mention. But starting 11 for this Livingston match is Joe Lewis in goal, Richard Tate at the right back position with Mikey Devlin and Scott McKenna as centre back. Greg Lee returns after a suspension to the left wing back position. New boy Pedro Chirivella starts in the defensive midfield position with Greg Doherty and Dean Campbell ahead of him. James Wilson, Conor McLennan and Ryan Brewster complete the front three. Let's get into the match. Right. Passionately, nope. There we go. We'll just send the assistant to the tunnel interview. But I am quite excited to see just how well Chirivella plays, especially considering we've got him from Liverpool. So, spent a good couple of years developing under a pretty good system. He has actually made one appearance in the English Premier League so far this season as well. So he's got a bit of senior experience, but at 22 years old, it'd be rude not to buy him, to be fair. Especially considering how much money we got in from the Ferguson transfer. I think it was like 3.5 million up front. We also got rid of Ashley Taylor as well, just about 70k, just to reduce that wage bill a little bit. And to be fair, I think that's where a lot of our transfer funds have come from, just adjusting the budget slightly, and it's managed to help us strengthen the squad. I think once that Shved is over his flu, him on the wing alongside Brewster up front and Conor McLennan as well, I think that's a pretty solid front three, if I do say so myself. And I am aware that we did have a shot that just ricocheted off the crossbar, but we are showing glimpses of quality in this first half so far, and James Wilson plays the ball to McLennan. McLennan takes the touch and shoots, but it's just wide of the Livingston goal. As you can see as well, we are at the moment just 1 point behind that Europa League spot, which is where the board want us to end up. Kilmarnock do have a couple of games in hand on us, but we're a good 5 points ahead of them. If we can get 3 points here today, then that pretty much cements our 4th place position for the moment. And McKenna there cuts out the long ball over the top. It falls to McLennan, who plays it out to Wilson. Wilson brings the ball into the area, beats his man, plays across to Brewster, and Brewster just puts it wide. But again, we're looking dangerous so far this match, and I'm liking it. I can't tell whether that's because we've got that new Pedro Chirivella in defensive midfield, and he's kind of breaking things up in our defensive third and then kind of playing long balls forward. I need to be watching longer highlights, to be fair, but things do seem to have turned around from our slip at the start of the season. We have been playing pretty well, but I am going to tell them that we're not playing pretty well because I want them to go out there fired up. Pedro Chirivella has not been playing too bad at all. There's a lot more to come from you, and that's done absolutely nothing. To be fair, he's not been with us long, so he's probably not the wisest of choices to start him for a full match. But we could always bring on Funson Ojo at some point if we're not winning. But he's not played too bad, especially considering, like I said, it's his first start. And he's been here, maybe 4 or 5 days? So not much training at all. But McLennan's on the ball now. He finds Chirivella, plays in Campbell, who plays it back out to McLennan. McLennan's waiting for a cross to open up, but gets tackled. Chirivella picks it up on the edge of the area, plays it to Liu, crosses into James Wilson for his 8th goal of this season. And folks, it seems as if we're not going to make that permanent offer for Shved, because James Wilson is showing me that he wants to be in our first 11. Absolutely lying. I'm totally going to put in a permanent bid for him. But look at that strike. Hits it on the volley, and it's an amazing cross from Lee. And to be fair, if Chirivella didn't pick up the ball on the edge of the area, that goal is not in existence. So again, the new boy showing us that he was well worth the fees. And we're now 1-0 up. We can drop back to a positive mentality. We've done a little bit of tweaking to the tactics for Aberdeen. And as you can see, defensively, we're looking a bit better, touch wood. We've only allowed 2 shots in this entire match so far. And I think that's a pretty solid performance so far, should I say so far, because the match is still not over, and that is why I'm bringing on a substitution in midfield just to shore things up a little bit in the battle for midfield. I'm also going to bring on Ryan Hedges because McLennan isn't having the best of games, but in the last few minutes we have allowed them to double their shot tally, and they're now on 5 shots, so we're going to drop back a little bit to balanced just to preserve this lead. And there we go, full time, 1-0 to Aberdeen. Right, let's go play this Scottish Cup match. Right, so just a little bit of rotation for the Scottish Cup game at home against Ayrr United. We do have Joe Lewis in goal, a back four of Zach Viner, Mikey Devlin, Antonio Morin, Andrew Considine. Pedro Chirivella gets a second start. Greg Doherty and Craig Bryson play just ahead of him. We have Ryan Hedges on the wing, Conor McLennan on the left wing, and then we have Eamon Brophy replacing Ryan Brewster up front. Just trying to save some legs, to be fair, guys, and avoid any injuries, because as you can see, the entire bench are pretty high injury risk at the moment, as well as a few of the starting 11. But let's get into the match. And I must admit, since our form has turned around this season, I've been able to just kind of take a bit of a step back from all the press conferences and stuff. I've always found in Football Manager, when form's not the best, it's always best to kind of be in the media and just kind of steadying the ship and reassuring everybody that things are okay. And I don't know why we've not started on an attacking mentality, because Ayrr are in the Championship, so I am going to change that. But we do have the ball in a dangerous position. Zach Viner with the ball at the edge of the area, crosses it to McLennan, whose header hits the crossbar, but Eamon Brophy picks it back up, plays it out to Hedges, who shot is saved. What a move early on in this match, and again, we are showing that we are dangerous. And Mikey Devlin there heads the ball over the goal. And 20 minutes in, we've had 70% possession. It's literally just like a training match. And Brophy there with a shot from miles out, but it is wide of the mark. And look at that, we're just absolutely peppering them in this first 30 minutes. We've had 9 shots, only 2 on target, which is pretty poor, but we're getting chances. That's what that tells me. But Chirivella with the corner, plays it to Hedges at the front post, who just heads it wide. And I am going to demand more at this point, because we're getting shots, but they are just a bit all over the place at the moment. We do have some firepower on the bench. We can always bring on Ryan Brewster. But I do reckon that this 11 can get the victory out here today. Well, they should get the victory out here today, because as you can see, we absolutely stifled them in that first half. They didn't get a shot on goal. Fouled us 8 times. We're playing pretty well. It's just we've got nothing on the end of it at the moment, unfortunately. But it does restart with an Ayrr kick. I was going to say goal kick, but that's not a goal kick. The Ayrr keeper boots it upfield, but it falls to Zach Viner, who goes for a bit of a run down that right wing and is in a crossing area now. He's looking for the space, beats his man, crosses it, looking for Brophy, but Brophy just doesn't manage to get a head on it. And that should have been a goal there, to be honest. But the Ayrr keeper tries to hoof it over the back of our defence, over the top of our defence, should I say. And Chirivella with a big ball over the top on the counter finds Eamon Brophy, who's in behind. And again, Chirivella is paying off my faith in him. He's repaying my faith in him with that big ball over the top. What vision to see that. And Brophy just gets on the end of it. Is one-on-one with the keeper and is never missing in that situation. And it's now Aberdeen 1, Ayrr United 0. It's taken us to the second half, but we've got that goal. I'm going to drop back a little bit. I was going to go balanced, but I'm going to stick with positive, because we have managed to stifle them, as I've said. This is probably their first shot, and they scored. Oh my goodness, they've managed to score with their first shot of the match. How incredibly hilarious. So it's a big ball over the top. I'm not entirely sure what my winger's doing there. It's just kind of... but leave Houston miles open at the far post, and it's a equaliser. My goodness. But Chirivella with a free kick picks out Devlin at the back post, who is offside. But wow, again, he's just demonstrating that vision. He's averaging a 7 point... He's playing a 7.8. It was 7.9 a second ago. At the moment, I was close to saying that he's averaging a 7.9 match rating, but he's only played 2 matches. But from what we've seen from him in those first 2 matches, it is looking like an excellent piece of business. I am going to go back to attacking, because I don't like the fact that we're in the 82nd minute and we've not scored a second. I'm going to have to go overkill and bring on Ryan Brewster as well. Yeah, I mean, for me, I do want to win some silverware this season. I think we have a realistic chance of winning the FA Cup, especially now that we've found some form. We've found a system that works, and we're slowly upgrading the team. But we end this match in a 1-1 draw, and simply put, that was not good enough. So we will have to play a replay. I just want to see when that is. So that is going to be after the St Johnstone match. So we are nearing up the end of this first season. So I'm probably going to skip ahead past the Scottish Cup 5th round replay and probably come back for maybe the last 3 games of the season against Hearts, Ross County and Hamilton. In fact, that being said, I've not actually shown you a Celtic match so far this season, have I? What I might do is, for the next episode, show you Celtic and then Hamilton. And then hopefully by that point we'll be in like the final of the Scottish Cup. In fact, how many more rounds are there? So we've got 3 more rounds of matches. I have no idea where that fits in amongst the schedule, but we will be back for Celtic for sure and one other match. Right guys, if you've made it this far, please leave a thumbs up on the video, subscribe if you're new, and I'll catch you in the next episode. Peace.